And then the second part, the second place I could have gone on this was talking about the current bugaboo, whatever you want to call it, that is facing so many people in creative industries. And I'm not going to say just creative industries, in all industries, because there's creativity in every industry. There's creativity in finding in tax, strategies. There's creativity in being in research, in scientific research. There's creativity in everything. And so I'm not just limiting this to, the arts kind of thing, because I think there's art in everything. But, you know, artificial intelligence, it's a big one. And, on the one hand, we want to be able to do things, the little niggly things, like let's use it for that. On the other hand, there's a lot of opportunities that AI developers are seeing to come in and take the positions of people like me, are voiceover artists, graphic designers, writers, all kinds of, people in the videographers. So it's like a lot of people in my industry are kind of like, well, what's going to happen? And I think that I'm actually involved in a committee that is advising on regulation for that. And we're looking at things like, how there's like organic certified or fair trade certified. Maybe there should be human certified. That would be an interesting thing. Just so people know that they have a choice. There could be things like, I think, with the whole uncanny valley theory, there is an ick factor for us if we don't know that it's a machine. Right now, we kind of still know it's a machine. It's like, oh, it's a machine. But if you don't know it's a machine that's talking to you, there's this weird kind of like, the closer it gets to being like a human, the more we kind of go, ooh, I don't like that. So that's a possibility. But interestingly, I think I think it will end up being a something that a lot of people will use when they don't have high value to connection. If it's an e-learning company, for example, that really doesn't care whether or not the key performance indicators are being met for this, but it's just something that they've got to roll out, or for compliance, or for government regulations, or something like that. Then they'll probably go with an AI. Whereas if it's something that they really need their people to understand this, because if they don't, they are going to lose millions of dollars, they're going to hire a human. And I think that's going to be this sort of, my prediction is that's what's going to happen in all of the stuff. Plus, then there's the whole consideration of how much energy it takes. They say the current AI, all the platforms that are being in development and in use right now are taking as much energy as a small country. We can't afford that, or we need to make choices. And I don't know how that's going to happen, or how that's going to be regulated, if regulated. I don't know. But yeah, so that's my kind of like how to move forward with this. And what I'm doing is taking lessons from what I've done in the past, seeing where I can pivot, making sure I have a good work-life balance, looking at what my goals really are, and continuing to stay on top of any technology or craft. There's been a trend. I don't know if you've noticed, but there's been a big trend for stories to be told in extremely authentic, real person, conversational ways, right? It used to be, this week we're going to be talking about this. It's like nobody wants to hear that anymore, right? So again, it's interest. It's a set of skills to be able to do that with somebody else's words, with somebody else's script. So I'm continuing to play and enjoy and work on that as well.